Lagos Television. Now we are shifting gears into governance, democracy, and the role of civil society organizations in Nigeria, especially at this moment where we have an administration in place that has been on for 3 years or thereabouts. And we cannot forget in a hurry the role of civil society organizations in those days of the military, how they fought day and night to chase the military men back to the barracks. But today we have democracy, and some people are questioning the role of civil society organizations, if indeed they are still up and alive to their responsibility in putting the excesses of government into checks. We have with us in the studio this morning, Comrade Debo Adeniran is the president, CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights in Nigeria. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure being here.
Okay, when we say civil society organizations, many will be wondering that where are these organizations? What interest do they serve? And then are they really up and doing as regards their responsibility of putting government on its toes to do the needful for the citizens of the country?
Well, thank you very much. That is a direct question. We are here as a civil society organization, and we have several of civil society organizations, and like any other social groupings, civil society organizations have been infiltrated. Ordinarily, civil society organizations are supposed to be composed by those who desire to monitor the process of governing. And the purpose of governing should be to take care of security and welfare of the people. And of course, when you look at the way things are being run in Nigeria today, it is not direct to say that, maybe the government has not been doing enough, because if you are not part of it, you won't even know exactly what it is. So what is lacking in the process of governing is transparency, is accountability, is trail for probity. And that is why the civil society organization will always be on the neck of the administration, that we want to know what you are doing in these areas, in this area, in this area. We want to know how much you spend in this area, this area, this area. We want to know what projects you are executing, what is the quality, what is the quantity, and whose interest does it serve. Like I also said earlier, civil society organizations have been infiltrated even by those who want to use it to feather their own nest.
Who are those? Would that be government or the agents of government?
Yeah, until people are caught and prosecuted and convicted, you cannot say directly, oh, this is what has happened. But it is not a direct crime when you play the game that the government wants you to play. So if it is not a crime, it is difficult for anybody to get you apprehended for prosecution. What we can only do is to criticize them. And of course, it is difficult also for you to say that, oh, this person, because civil society, the definition is very broad. All those organizations that are not directly under government budget are civil society. Okay, trade unions, civil society, CBOs, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, market men, market women, and all of that. So when you look at the way, how broad it is, you know that some faith-based organizations are actually campaigning for some of the politicians and defending their actions within and outside the office. The same thing with some market men, market women. They actually go on campaign trail for some political parties. So it depends on what affiliate the politicians have with these civil society organizations. But then there are NGOs. Because NGOs, there is a thin difference between
CSOs and NGOs.
NGOs.
Okay,
because,
I'm putting this question to you because I remember very well in those days of military regimes, civil society organizations were very active, very efficient, putting the military on their toes before they were chased back to the barracks. But I remember how efficient CSOs were also in the time of Goodluck Jonathan. But now it appears that civil society organizations are very docile and they are not doing what is expected of them, promoting the human rights interest of Nigerians, putting government on their toes. Look at the example of the PFIPC saga that we had that involved allegedly now the chief of staff, the fake DG, and this morning I saw on the pages of newspaper the plan by the federal government to spend billions of naira for the renovation of the palaces of traditional rulers. And we have bad roads, we have bad schools, we have bad hospitals. These are the things that Nigerians are expecting CSOs to be doing, criticizing government objectively.
Okay, thank you very much. Definitely, you cannot compare the time of the military with the time of civilian governance. In the military days, we believe that military had no business in governance. They are meant to defend the territorial integrity of the country. And what everybody wanted was that governance should come back to the hand of civilians. So our effort in those days, even as CDHR, we've been existing then, we notice that when government violates your rights, it's with impunity. And when eventually your right is observed, they expect you to come and thank them for doing a good job for you. But then they cover up a lot because, for example, you people in the media had your limits. There was a limit you could go. Even if what you want to publish, what you want to broadcast is true, there are occasions when you don't have to do it. And if you do it, your media house is going to be shut down. And journalists, reporters, and everybody that had a hand in it will be apprehended, put behind bars for as long as, in the first instance, under Decree 4, for the first instance of 6 months. It was renewable by the then vice president without giving you reasons why you are being detained. So everything was shrouded in secrecy. The reason why it looks as if we are not doing much is because when you call your constituency representative, maybe in the National Assembly, in the State Assembly, or in the council, you will ask him questions, and he is likely to answer you.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
We have had honorable members
that's why I say,
representing a particular constituency, not even living there. And people hardly have access to them.
That's why I say likely. He is likely to answer you. Now, if you cannot assess him, you can assess the council itself. If it is local government, you can assess the state assembly or the National Assembly as it is. Now, if you move from his constituency to the assembly where he is supposed to represent you, then it is a drawdown. It's a kind of slight on his own integrity. And that is what they don't like. So what we do is, because civil governance is easier to do than military, it's easier to approach than military governance. Now, when you talk about Jonathan times, we were able to do the Ojota uprising in 2012 or so.
When he removed the subsidy.
Yes, when the subsidy, well, depending on what you meant by that, okay? When he sustained the subsidy regime and claimed that he has removed it, that is a different ballgame altogether. Now, it was possible because we had time to organize. We were in halls where we were able to discuss and agree. In fact, 2 halls, 3 actually, NSC from Olajuwon, Save Nigeria Group from Sheraton. Then there is another one, National Liberation Group from Yard 158, Oregon. Now, we were able to put heads together and decided that, look, there was a need to tell the administration that we were tired of the deception. Then we were tired of lopsided governance. It wasn't only subsidy that we complained about, but the lopsided nature of governance was part of it. And inadequate capacity to tackle corruption, the general corruption. And don't forget, that was the days of Desani Alice and Madueke. And you remember also that Okonjo-Iweala had warned that if we continue that way, whoever took over after Jonathan will face a series of problems. So it was easy to organize. And that was why we confronted it. Okay, but don't forget also that the present president was a civil society man. And of course, there are a number of things that people complain about, just like you have mentioned. But it is being tackled. Like you talk about traditional...
Debo,
yes.
What has changed now between the time of Jonathan and the time of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? You and I know that the cost of living is very high.
Yes.
And we're also being faced with alarming rate of insecurity in the country. And one would have expected the CSOs to engage this government the way they did during the time of Jonathan, because Nigerians are living far below the poverty line now. No,
you see, what you don't look at is the figures. Okay? Just recently, this insecurity you are talking about has always been there. And I talked about cover-up, inadequate reportage on state of insecurity. And you can't compare that with the time of Buhari. Buhari didn't even take any interest in covering anything up. And he opened up to everybody. Now, the reason why the uprising has not been the way it used to be is because it became unnecessary. Because explanations were actually offered. And opportunities were given for whoever wants to investigate, to go to the field and see what our soldiers are doing.
Were opportunities given to those who want to protest by this administration?
No, if you want to protest, nobody stops you. It's just because protest was unnecessary, was no longer fashionable, because what you are protesting about is in your hand. It was the reason for protest.
Hunger is in the hands of Nigerians.
And I thought, of course, no, the truth is this. What is hunger? Okay, inadequate capacity to feed yourself and your family. What cost it?
And the cost of living.
The cost of living.
The purchasing power of Nigerians.
Let me tell you, the reason is because we have been living fake lives before. We have been made to understand that we have a larger than life image. If you bought a liter of fuel for 200 naira in those days, government is helping you to add 1,100 naira.
Okay, now the reality is here.
So the reality is
you cannot compare the standard of living of those in government to that of Nigerians.
Of course
they are living in affluence. Governors get more money now.
Look.
Local government chairmen, they get more money now at the expense of the people.
That is it. The truth is also that everybody, if you are a civilian, then you are a member of the civil populace. Then you are capable of raising civic questions. Okay? It is not a birthright of somebody that, it must be somebody who belongs to this organization that must go and ask those questions.
Well, these organizations,
they have
leaders.
They are what?
They have leaders.
Yes,
they have leaders, so they are expected to lead.
Okay, now don't let us go into the nitty-gritty of how civil society organizations are run. Okay, because look, if you say somebody is a leader and he had what do you think, what influence do you think that he has? What resources do you think is available to him to do all of those things that you said he should do? The truth is that Nigerians are very docile, and you have to mobilize them. How do you mobilize them without moving from one point to another? And that's, what does it cost? Funds. Where does this fund come from? Now, if
is that where government is taking advantage of CSOs?
Is
that where they are compromising?
It is not compromising. I've told you that there is openness, that you also know how much came to your own local government. And it is not a preserve of just as a leader of civil society organizations to go and ask on your behalf. And if you are mobilized that, okay, oh, please leave your job for an hour or two to let us move to this place. Are you ready? Because you are thinking of what you are going to lose during that period.
Are you speaking for Nigerians now? The same Nigerians that were with you in Ojota then. And now their condition is not even as it was in those days.
What I tell you is that
we see governors living
affluent
lives at the expense of Nigerians.
I told you
civil
that
society group should wake up, Convener Debo Adeniran. Nigerians are complaining.
Which Nigeria is complaining?
Are Nigerians not complaining?
The truth is that if you complain and I give you explanation, what do you do next? Do you go to court? You go to court, you are given explanation.
Is government not there to provide solutions to some of these problems?
The solution is just forthcoming, because look, if you have to reconstruct, a dilapidated structure, you have to pull it down. You are renovating your environment currently. There are so much discomfort that you are confronting. But when you know that what you expect at the end of the renovation is a beautiful environment,
what is the
that
discomfort
is more attractive
that those in government are going through?
Where you are in the media, you are in a position to raise those questions.
Now, this is what we can see. We see what these governors are doing.
So what do you want to do? Now,
I'm asking, because you are a leader, you are the president of CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. What have you done to defend the human rights of Nigerians that are suffering now?
What part of your right that has been denied? Just tell me.
Can my salary take me home?
Of course, you are still earning salaries. There are some who are not earning salaries, who work for themselves. Now, I have told you, the reason why there are conflicts is when there is no explanation on why things are going the way they are. The reason why you are enduring your environment now, despite the fact that several things have been broken down, is because there is an explanation on what to expect at the end of it. Your bosses are earning than you. Of course, you cannot say that everybody should earn at the same level. When you talk about minimum wage, a minimum wage earner is a starter. Okay, it's not somebody that's supposed to buy a bag of rice like people want to say.
Let's look at the cost of governance. Let's look at the cost of governance. So
when you look at cost of governance,
let's take it one by one. Let's look at the cost of governance.
Okay.
Compared to the average, to the living standard of an average Nigerian.
Yeah.
They are telling Nigerians to endure, 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 endure. There is a better future ahead of you. Meanwhile, those that are telling Nigerians to endure, they are not even enduring. And these are what Nigerians can see.
That is
so
all you
can they lead by example?
Now, okay, you are in a jacket, you have a shirt underneath, maybe you have a singlet and all of that. If I am sweating, would I say you are enduring the same thing I'm enduring? Okay? Now, let me tell you. No, the truth is this. When you look at
is the cost of living high?
Look,
cost of governance, is it high or not?
Listen. When you look at government structure, you cannot say that the life, it's just like when the First Lady was talking about giving grants to some people to do their menial job, vocations and the rest of them, and people took her up, and whether she survived on akara frying and all of that. You cannot, the society is structure. There is this social stratification. Okay? There's no way you can have that complete equality, socio-economic equality amongst all the
we
people.
can have basic
so
amenities
now
of life.
listen.
We can have basic
now,
amenities
listen.
of life.
Of course, you have it. It's just that you are not satisfied. Let me tell you.
Oh,
if you have,
as you are today,
yes.
Look at the state of some of our roads, our schools, our hospitals.
Some of your road, but
yes.
It's being fixed. Okay, so if you say your road is bad, and government says that we are fixing it, and they show you the budget, and they show you the contracts, they show you the quality.
Have you seen the conflicting figures on the current budget of 2026?
Of course, if you see it, it's for you. If it's your duty to bring it up.
So what then is the role and the duty of CSOs? If you are pushing it to the people and you are the president of CDHR.
I am saying that you are a media man, you are a professional. One of your duty, okay, is to carry out investigation.
The media is the watchdog of the society.
Exactly.
So what is CSO doing, or what are CSOs doing?
What I'm
to
saying
also
is this:
play their own role. I
have told you when questions are asked and those questions are answered. What do you expect? You now want the CSO to go to court or to go on the street? Of course, you won't find people on the street. You know why? People already have information about what is forthcoming after the period of suffering.
Okay,
so
let's move away from governance now. Let's talk about elections in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We saw what happened in Ekiti State recently during the governorship election, and another round of election is coming up in the country.
Yeah.
And each time we have off-cycle elections or any election in country, it is glaring before us that we see people buying votes. So what is civil society organization doing in this direction to reorientate Nigeria on the need for them to value their votes?
You also saw people selling votes. And you also know that votes merchandise is becoming a fad in the country. But you also know that some of the civil society organizations that monitor that election also reported that they saw it. But it is not peculiar to one political party. So what we are doing is to sensitize all the political parties and to conscientize them. And of course, we have nudged the NOA that that body needs to go all out, down to the grassroots, and educate the voters that they do not have to mortgage their future by voting a wrong person based on the amount of money they collected from them. So this doesn't take, it's not a 100-meter dash, okay? Because when somebody had made up his mind about the way things are done, to undo or to unlearn what he has previously learned becomes difficult. And you also know that we are living under a capitalist system where the social stratification I talked about the other time is being maintained in such a way that the haves are having more, the have-nots are losing it more. But what we are trying to do is to bridge the gap between the haves and have-nots by insisting about accountability. You also know that there are a number of people who participated in the present government are facing various anti-corruption and regulatory agencies for one misdeed or the other.
Okay.
There are some politicians who will always find a means of deriding whatever positive the ruling party or ruling government is doing. But then at the level of civil society, if we wrote petition to the anti-corruption agencies, to regulatory agencies, to agencies that are supposed to take responsibility for certain functions, and they responded, what next do you want us to do?
Okay, aside from what we have discussed so far, of particular interest is also the situation in Osun State. The off-cycle election of the governorship election of Osun State is coming up in August 8 or thereabouts. Yeah. And the kind of killings that we have seen in Osun State have never been seen. How worried are civil society organizations about this forthcoming election in Osun State? And what steps have you taken to report some of these issues and, of course, sensitize the people on the need for them to be alert before, during, and after this election?
Well, I don't know if you have statistics of what has been happening, since the beginning of the present republic, to come to the conclusion that it has never been like that. Osun elections had always been violent. And of course, a lot has been done to douse the tension. The civil society organizations in Osun State are currently on house-to-house, sensitization program to tell people not to allow their children to be used as column fodder, that they may not be able to enjoy the benefit of whatever they are fighting for with the politicians. So, because they may not either come back alive or come back as a free person. So basically, we have limited capacity to go into the field and say, okay, there shouldn't be violence, and we go directly to those who are holding the guns and say, bring your gun, you should not use it.
Are you engaging the political parties too?
What?
Are you engaging the political parties too?
Of course, yes. I have said if it is house by house, if it is house to house, it means that those who constitute the political parties are also living in those homes where we went to. Then the political leaders also are being engaged. Okay, there are a number of clips you could see, even in the media, that civil society have gone into discussions with a number of violent organizations. We may not say, because we have not pinned it down to a particular political parties, but you know that some union workers, National Union of Road Transport Workers, have been indicted. Some other violent organizations have been isolated. But then, until you get their leaders and indict them that they actually had a hand in the violent attack that happened. The same thing with political parties. It is difficult to pin it down on anybody, but a couple of cultists have been arrested. A couple of arms and ammunition have been confiscated, and this is going on daily basis. The limits we have is that we don't have weapons, okay? We don't even have resources. What we have is person-to-person contact. The strategies to get into the mind of the people is by direct communication, indirect communications. We actually appeal. We were with Ratao the other time at Oriental, okay? We told them that, look, the way you can change the mind of the people is the way you slant your reportage as media, on television, on radio. What you show the people, the visual you come up with, would determine whether somebody would think that violence pays or is a debilitating thing. If you are a theater worker and the plays what you demonstrate in your plays, in your drama and all of that is how to use weapons or how to use force to gain prominence, positions and influence, then you are training those that are coming up, those that have malleable orientation, that they could do it and get away with it. So we have appealed to them. We were there, we appealed to them that, look, Ratau should get their members in various media houses to sign a code of ethics that, look, anything that we encourage violent attack on the Nigerian people should be discouraged.
All right.
And the way you write your own stories too, even in the papers, your slant, your tone, and all of that also matter. Because if you deliberately incite the majority of the people, they go all out on and attack people. But then I believe that if people are sufficiently oriented, guided about the principles, the morality behind being civil. We are talking about civil society. We are talking about civil populace. They will not, foment trouble. And that is why I said that if you had earlier, data on how violent attack has, characterize electoral process in Osun State. You will not say this year's or this forthcoming one is higher. We have been there. Don't forget that I went to douse
because of our time. We have to go now
violent tension in Osun State.
We have to go now because of our time.
I stuck out my neck.
We must thank you very much, Comrade Debo Adeniran, President, CDHR, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, for coming on the show to speak on governance and the role of civil society organizations. And like you did say, it's not for government alone. It's not for civil society alone. It's a job for everybody if indeed we want our society and the process of governance to be better in Nigeria. We thank you once again for your time on the program.
It's my pleasure.
We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, it will be time to coast home. Stay with us.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State Government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.